I'm going to cover several non-related stories here. These are three completely different topics. But anyway, I'm going to start off with giants here in Arizona. Now, I was watching Jesse's Drone Adventures latest video where he's covering some of the Sinawa and Salado people. Well, Sinawa is Spanish. Sinawa, that's for, without water. That's what Sinawa means. Salado, well, it's like they lived along the Salt River. Salado is like, well, it's a word for salt in Spanish or close to it. But anyway, I don't know if they're giant stories or factual stories or just tales they tell. At the old campfires they'd have just to entertain each other. At the campfires, I don't know. But anyway, Jesse was going through these caves that these people had lived in. Well, they had gone from living close to the banks of the Verde or the Salt River, and they live in like these little mud huts. They'd take like tree branches, cover them with mud, dig a little pit under them, live that way. And they stopped living that way and started living in these caves. And one theory is that they were pestered by these giants. They were humans, but they're maybe like 8 or 10 feet tall. I'm gonna get to the skeletons here in a couple of minutes. Now, one theory was that they started living up in these caves. They were defensive. They wanted to get away from these giants. And at some point in time, these guys, all the different tribes of, there were different tribes, scattered out throughout the Valley of the Sun here. It's a pretty good sized valley. But anyway, they had all banded together and said, we're either going to outfight or, outsmart or outfight these giants. And it's one time they did that. They banded together and they killed them all one way or another. Now, there's different theories on how that might have happened, if it did happen. Now, because I find it very interesting. And there's a number of places that are on my bucket list that Jesse has covered. And you talk about you very rarely find, Native American clay pot. It's whole. Now, I remember as a kid, there was one theory that, when an individual had died, it was there, but they would cremate the remains. That's when you don't find too many skeletons. I think a few of them were buried, but most of them you don't find very very many remains, skeletal remains from them. But one theory is that they would take all their possessions and break them up because it was of their belief system that their spirit would inhabit, whatever they owned, and they would pretty much, they would try to destroy, their possessions like a clay pot they had, they'd break them up. That's the theory that I heard. I don't know if that's part of their belief system, but that's the theory that I'd heard when I was a kid. Like I said, I don't know how true that is. But anyway, like I said, at one point, they killed all these guys. Now there are rumors that that different archaeologists have found, skeletons, maybe 8-10 foot tall people, these super tall skeletons, from these areas, and that the Smithsonian came in there and then confiscated them. And that there's a bunch of these giant skeletons in the basement of the Smithsonian. That this theory is, among conspiracy theorists, more or less, that proving that these giants did exist would destroy how do I phrase it? It would go against the prevailing, beliefs. Now, again, this may be a conspiracy theory. There may be nothing to this. There may not be giant skeletons, in the basement of the Smithsonian. I don't know. It's just a stories. You hear all kinds of stories on, where Jesse's has gone. Yeah, that's on my bucket list. I need to get out. There's 3 or 4 places that he's gone that I'd definitely like to get out to, like along the Salt, the Verde. There's places up north and east of Apache Junction that he's gone out there and flown his drone, hiked out around there. Now, if these places with an easy hike, I'd like to do it. Now, if there's some chick, mid 40s to mid 70s somewhere that's into this, that just needs somebody to go out. Hey, maybe you're widowed. Maybe you got an invalid husband that you just want, just a platonic hiking partner to go out there and hike these places. Hey, let me know. Reach out to me, jamesgodman@yahoo.com. And we can work something out. I'd love to go out with somebody that knows a little bit about what they're doing. Maybe have maybe amateur rock hunter or not an anthropologist though. I can't think of a name for it, but you're into that type of thing. Hey, let me know. Next thing I want to cover, totally unrelated, is this chick here on YouTube. She's from the UK somewhere. Her accent sounds more Scottish than British, but anyway, she's got the coolest accent. Her hair is Her hair is what I would call a strawberry blonde, but she refers to herself as a ginger. Ginger is more red hair. Her, like I said, her hair is more dark blonde than red. But anyway, like I said, she calls herself a ginger. Most of her videos, are on the aspects of of being a ginger. I think she's looking for it. I don't know if she's serious or just. I think she's looking for an American boyfriend. That chick, if I were about half my age, I might invite you to the U.S. But I'm old enough to be your grandpa, so I'm probably out of the running for anything like that. But she may be happy with living in the UK. I'll post her YouTube channel, either this video or a future video, so you can watch her videos. Now there's two British food items. Now, when I think of British food, traditional, I think of fish and chips. Now that's got to be a staple. Maybe with a pint of of a British ale or a dark beer or something. That's the way I picture. May I visualize British food, but some stuff she's come up with. Now maybe she likes this. I don't know. Now to me, that's some of the most bizarre food items I could to tell about. Well, she'll take a potato, like a regular white Irish potato, cook in the microwave for 3 or 4 minutes, cut it open, put some butter in there, then she'll cover it like in pinto beans. Now to me, I just can't visualize eating something like that. Now the next thing. Next food item, she takes some toast, toast it in the toaster. Then while it's still warm, smother it in butter, and then she'll cover it with these O-rings, not Cheerios. It's pasta with the little O's in there. The little O's, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I can't. They're tomato sauce, kind of a weird. Oh, they're an acquired taste. Either you like them, or you don't. But anyway, the toast is buttered toast is covered in these. SpaghettiOs. And I can't visualize anybody enjoying eating. I mean, they're two good food items, but together they're weird. But maybe that fits her taste. Maybe her being a redhead, that's just something she enjoys. I don't know. I don't get it. But like I said, I think she may be looking for an American boyfriend, and she may want to come to the U.S. and settle here with an American dude. I got no idea. She may come over here and find our food taste and our lifestyle completely different. Anything she likes, I don't know. All I would say, chick, come to the U.S. and see what it's like over here. Come over here for a visit and see if you like it or not. Visit the Southwest. L.A., Phoenix. Go to some of the Albuquerque, Denver. Just see what because we got completely different lifestyles in different parts of the U.S. Besides what you'd have in Eastern United States, completely different lifestyles. That's the last thing I'm going to cover. Again, completely unrelated topics. This is like the 63rd anniversary of the assassination of Kennedy. Now, for me personally, from the evidence they've come up with, now I think Lee Harvey Oswald had acted on his own. The guy was just a nut. He was, mentally had some issues. Now, there were groups and individuals that might have had reasons to take Kennedy out. I'm gonna get to those in a minute. Now, for Oswald, he got disillusioned with the American lifestyle. He went and lived in the Soviet Union for a period of time. He got disillusioned with the Soviet Union, but he'd married a woman over there. He ended up having two kids with this lady. I'm gonna get to her in a minute. Now, he got disillusioned. He come back, him and his wife, back to the U.S. And for some reason, he decided he wanted to take Kennedy out. I think he just acted on his own. I don't think he had help. Now, as far as there were groups like the CIA, now there's stories that Kennedy was going to give away some state secrets, wanted to make peace with the Soviet Union. Now, it would have been a completely different history if that had happened. Now, there's some believe that the CIA saw him as a traitor, and there was a small band within the CIA that acted on their own and took Kennedy out. That's possible, but I haven't seen any conclusive proof of that. Just people have come up with reasons why the CIA would want to take him out. Like I said, again, I don't believe that conspiracy theory, but other people are open to their beliefs. Now, this is recorded fact that Kennedy's father, that Joseph Kennedy. But anyway, that he had made his money, as a bootlegger during Prohibition. There's stories that the people that maybe the mafia had got involved in it, and he double-crossed the mafia. Now maybe he did. And they were, like I said, I think by the time that Kennedy was president, I think Joseph Kennedy had died, so they couldn't take him out, so they took Kennedy out instead. Like I said, I don't particularly believe that. Um, like I said, there's all kind of conspiracy theories. Same thing goes with LBJ. There was theories that they were trying to get at LBJ and got to Kennedy instead. Because there are groups that you don't get to positions of power without stepping on a few toes or stepping on a few fingers. And the Kennedys, Johnsons had done that. Like I said, there were people that were bad at them. But personally, I think Oswald had acted on his own. Now, Oswald had a couple girls born in the early '60s. Now these ladies are full grown. They have families of their own now, and you can find the information on these two girls, that are trying to completely dismiss themselves from the crimes that their father committed. I don't know if their families, they probably told their families the story just so they can process it, because I'm sure the media had followed them initially. I think the media kind of gave up on these two girls, on Marina. Marina remarried and had another kid. You can find all this, and she had informed her two daughters when they're old enough to understand what their history was. Now, on Jack Ruby, that took Oswald out. To me, the guy was Meshuggah. You either know, well, if you speak a little Yiddish, you know what Meshuggah means. But the guy, again, the guy wasn't right in the head, and he's dead now, so he can't defend himself. But Ruby, Ruby acted on his own. He didn't act that's my belief. That's my, I am stating this off the top of my head, not from any personal knowledge or anything like that. This is just from the bit of history that I've followed. Now, I'm a bit of a student of history, and I do love history, and I do love conspiracy theories, and I do buy into a few conspiracy theories, but But my belief is that Oswald acted on his own. The guy was just a nut. He had issues. Anyway, love y'all. Let's keep life interesting and exciting. Das Leben ist ein Abenteuer, and c'est la vie. Bye bye.